That's gross.
We are the people of Mercury. I am your interplanetary host, Travis Montgomery. These views reflect one planet and one planet alone. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Mercury's Cast. I'm your host, Travis Montgomery. Tonight, again, it is me and it is Alex. We are having kind of a post-show continuation. We will be releasing 2 podcasts this week. Feel like we kind of been lacking, so why not bring you more content for those people who might be wanting more and be upset that sometimes we take a week off. So now, hey, we're going to give you 2 episodes. And, you know, the new guy that's on the team, Alex, FU, is short for fuck you, maybe. Who knows? It's plausible, and we don't need to talk about his real name because all we care about is what he has to say, right? We can call him Ray Donovan. We can call him Charlie Chaplin or Donald Duck.
I prefer John Galt.
John Galt?
That's to get all the liberals out there shouting at me, Ayn Rand, because Atlas shrugged. Because they think that all people with an anarcho-capitalist or libertarianistic view must love Ayn Rand.
And Mein Kampf.
Oh, yes. Sieg Heil.
And German battery-powered tools as well.
They're not battery-powered. Fine specializes in corded tools. Because real men use corded tools and pussies use cordless.
Excuse me, sir. If you're on a lift and you're doing continuous work all day long, 30 feet in the air, you don't want to have to worry. Yes, I am aware of the invention of an extension cord, but it's a pain in the ass to haul that shit behind you.
Plug it into a power supply.
I create power supplies. Hold on. Excuse me, sir.
Get a lithium polymer or a lithium battery bank and run your corded power tools off that. That way you still get the torque.
No, I need a Tesla coil on my scissor lift. Okay, until you can provide that for me, then I'm going to go with the best battery-powered tool. They're easier to carry.
Have you played Fallout? Have you played Fallout 4, Fallout 3, any of the Fallout series?
I have not.
We need handheld nuclear batteries.
Who's going to give that to us? Is it Elon Musk?
No, Donald Trump.
Sam Harris?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump's going to...
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge.
My hair is its own radiation source of power.
I know a guy.
Best radiation source.
I know a guy. He says, I have the best radiation source.
I have the best in the world. Okay.
I know guys. These are professionals, and I know these guys, and you know, they're the best. But they say that we are the best. I am the best. Excuse me, sir.
Flaming pile of garbage. See it in.
Wrong. It's in the gesticulation. You need a wrong.
Excuse me, sir.
He does the little flippy. Oh, the Trump supporters are going to be so pissed.
Mr. Executive Order is creating executive order in the land. It's almost like he is an executive dictator, but
already he's already beating Obama. It doesn't go without
checks and balances, does it? You can't create laws with an executive order, can you?
No, and he is. That's what he's doing.
You can't create laws, though. It's not a law. It's rewriting. It's rewriting current legislation.
If you make a commandment, if you will, so president is commander in chief. If the commander gives a command, it is to be followed. And in this case, he's making commands that are unconstitutional and he's circumventing checks and balances to do so, much like his predecessor. And I if anything, I had the hope that he would at least vary from his predecessor and such. Like it's hard for me because I criticized Trump from the beginning. I saw him as a demagogue, and I never.
It's a popular word.
Demagogue, yeah,
from intellectual,
a talking head. I saw him as someone to just catch attention, appeal to the more primal desires of his constituents. And what it came down to at the end of the day for me was why I'm not as pissed as I would be with, say, Hillary is I'm really terrified of a World War III, and a no-fly zone over Syria would have been that's an act of war. It's a declaration of war to declare a no-fly zone. That's boots on the ground, and that's dead brown babies. And I'm against killing little brown babies in the Middle East. I'm against our intervention and involvement in the Middle East entirely. I'm against war. So for liberals who supposedly are on the same side as me that are against war, they're promoting a candidate who multiple times throughout the campaign trail says, I want a no-fly zone over Syria, not understanding how the military works and what a no-fly zone is, which is an officially declared act of war, and then not considering that Syria is officially an ally of Russia. That would have been declaring an act of war against Russia, and I am fucking terrified of that.
During the Obama administration, he tried to get boots on the ground in Syria, and it failed. And it failed because of the backlash of the American people. Let's not forget that. He tried that shit, and the backlash was so significant, he said, all right, maybe we ain't going to do that, but we're going to drone strike the shit out of these. I'm doing my Obama. Never mind.
Yeah.
I would never say.
Let's put it this way.
I wouldn't go that far. All right.
I don't like to focus on Obama. He's old news. Just like I don't bring up Bush, and I could talk for hours. But and mind you, like that's when I was a kid. I remember his inauguration when I was a kid. I grew up with this shit, and that's something the older folks don't get is being raised. Most of my conscious childhood is at my country being at war. I haven't known peace. But Obama, if I really want to touch on him without really getting pointy, Operation Fast and Furious, all 7 countries were involved in the Middle East. I believe 3 of which we went in just supplying rebels with supplies. You might be able to help me here, Travis. Gaddafi, that was Libya, right? We see how they're doing. Actually, I think Libya is the spawn of ISIS. So if I really had to summarize a list, 7 military engagements overseas, ISIS, and Operation Fast and Furious are just a few easily pointed out examples of how the Obama presidency and his insistence on circumventing Congress and the Senate has gotten our country into deep shit, and why we shouldn't be in the Middle East.
Well, Fast and the Furious didn't have to do with the Mexican cartel.
Yep. We sent U.S. guns into Mexico and then tried to trace those guns, but the only thing that we got from that was dead U.S. citizens killed by American guns that Obama gave to the cartels. Yeah,
and you can trace those guns that were committing murders
back to the Obama administration. Back to the Obama administration, that Operation Fast and Furious, which is why I find it funny that so many liberals say that Obama didn't have a single controversy or whatever
scandal. That's the word. They love to use that word, scandal.
Obama was on vacation when Benghazi was attacked. That's a scandal because he didn't answer his fucking phone.
Well, we all know who was at the head of that scandal.
Hillary was behind that, though.
Hillary was definitely
blamed for that. Yeah, she was Secretary of State.
Not only that, as Secretary of State, the Clinton Foundation was taking money from...
the Clinton Foundation laundered money through it to give it to the Clintons directly, but that's neither here nor there. I blame Benghazi on Obama because it is the responsibility of the leader of what his team does. He appointed Hillary Clinton, and therefore her actions were his responsibility. But I find it funny that she tried to use that all through a campaign of, look how competent I am. I was Secretary of State, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you were Secretary of State, and as Secretary of State, you're one of the few people accountable for ISIS being created.
Yeah, you're supposed to be.
I'm very close. I missed my shout out in the last one. I did want to shout out my friend Hozan. He's a Kurdish immigrant here in the U.S. Follows the same ideologies I do, and if you know anything about Kurdistan, you know that ISIS recently committed a genocide in Kobane, Kurdistan. I think Kurdistan's not an official country. They've got loosely defined borders in, I think, 4
between
different countries.
Pakistan and Afghanistan.
And Iran.
Yeah. See?
Or Iraq.
I'm not just some dumb guy with a microphone in front of me. I am a little bit informed.
I'm a little bit inebriated, so I can't pull those countries out of my ass right now. Either way, though, he's a
pretty big asshole to do that.
He's a refugee here from Kurdistan. Kurdistan is home of the Peshmerga, which is Kurdish for those who face death. They're an entire military comprised of Kurdish women. So we're talking about a Muslim country where women fight in war, and they're known as those who face death because ISIS is terrified of them, because if you die at the hand of a woman in Islam, you're going to hell.
Huh.
It's like being shot with a bacon bullet. So the Kurdish also predominantly Muslim and Christian as a people. It's pretty well dispersed, Jewish, Muslims, and Christians within Kurdistan.
So check this idea out from our Mercury's cast brethren, Sean Coca. You'll be seeing him in the chat and stuff. He has an idea of any martyr, anybody that suicide bombs or anything like that. What the good Muslim people should do is threaten that if you kill yourself for jihad or create a terrorist attack, we're going to bury you in pigskin, which means you don't reach heaven, because how the
issue there is they would need sinners to wrap them in pigskin, because they're not even allowed to so much as touch pigs, let alone be wrapped in their skin. Right.
So I'll do it. Call me a sinner. Just the threat of it, just the idea and the threat of you do this, and you're not gonna have a proper burial. We're gonna bury you in pigskin.
Why don't we just say, look, what happens in the Middle East is their business. Let the Kurds take them out. Let the Peshmerga murk every fucking one of them.
So President Trump approach.
I think the thing that
first.
Obama.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
America first.
That's not
all we're doing there is protecting Israel. We're protecting
that's not Trump's
Israel.
Approach. Yeah, and it's not our job.
It kind of has been, though. I mean, even though you may not agree with it, it's been our job.
We unconstitutionally created Israel. We were one of the few countries that signed off on their creation. Teased legally.
In the 1947 or something like that?
Israel is not a legitimate country if you consider a country that it was established by other countries.
So, all right, now here we go. What do you consider an established country with borders? Because you're an open borders guy. So how
sovereign country?
Have it both ways.
A sovereign country. Oh, I can. You can have open borders and be sovereign. You can welcome free trade and free immigration and still be sovereign. All sovereignty details is being able to defend yourself from attacks at home and abroad. That's sovereignty.
America is not vulnerable to attacks from people from other countries?
We are less vulnerable than we would be fear-mongered into believing. We have the highest percentage unzoned. Any country that would try and invade us would meet a bunch of angry rednecks who don't have teeth, but they've got a lot of guns.
Yeah, go try and play
We're a
that
country
in Texas.
we're a country where some people have more guns than teeth. That's the way I'll reword that. And you go to Texas. You go to Texas and you try and invade Texas. Texas doesn't need a closed border. Texas has Fort Hood.
Huh.
I don't know if you've ever been there.
That's not the hood that people are thinking of either. That it's a different kind of
Fort Hood was the largest military installation in the world. It's where most soldiers were deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan from. It's where they flew out.
So now we're in an interesting conundrum because Israel should defend its borders, but
yes,
America should not.
Yep. Israel is if Israel is a sovereign country, they can keep themselves sovereign. That is the definition of sovereignty. It's like let's put it this way. If you have a business, let's say you're a bank, and you can't survive on your own income, so every year you need government income to get by. Are you a sovereign business or are you a leech?
Well, sovereign would mean self-sustaining.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So America's not a sovereign nation.
America is a sovereign nation, or it can be.
We could be.
We're presently not sovereign in a sense, but when it comes to our borders, our protection, we are a sovereign nation. If you do the death tolls of 9/11 and compare them to the amount of civilian casualties we've caused in the Middle East, you can see that we've more than repaid the
That's true.
the debt.
And our motivations to be over there is questionable.
For oil. It's for oil.
But we have a lot of oil here, too.
I'm one of those Building 7 guys. So now I've got the government listening on me. I do believe Building 7 was an inside job.
I'm a flip-flopper.
I am and I'm not. Here's my stance. I don't think who the government said did it. But
they might have known something.
They might have known who, but I don't think the government did it either. I just think they're not telling us who did it. Because what I can prove, what people can prove, is that who the government said did it did not do it. There is proof, there is evidence. What there is no evidence to is who did do it. So I can say without a doubt that it wasn't those people on a plane that somehow they found plastic IDs when there was flames hot enough to burn steel to a point in which it melted and was molten a week later in the wreckage of the Twin Towers. Yet somehow they found those plastic IDs to identify who was in that plane, in the wreckage, somehow. But I can look at Building 7. I can look at Building 7 and all of the engineers who have stated that building couldn't have fallen that way unless it was a controlled demolition. And I can look at
there could have been bombs in the. I mean, just to play, I love to play devil's advocate. Yeah. I'm going to do it all the time. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean that I believe it. The only way to really know is to recreate the experiment.
We do all the time. Haven't you ever seen a building being controlled demolished? If you compare the videos side to side, it's the same thing.
Right, but
whereas
we can't recreate.
Did you know the Empire State Building?
We can't recreate a building that big.
The Empire State Building was hit by a plane.
Was it a jihadi plane?
No, it was just it was hit by a plane.
Well, there you go. The jihads come with a lot more force.
This was like I think this was in the 30s that it was hit by a plane. 30s or 40s.
Well, different engineering, different fuel. I don't know.
Yeah, the Twin Towers were designed, unlike the Empire State Building, the Twin Towers were designed to sustain the impact of a plane. Because after the Empire State Building was hit by a plane, new skyscraper guidelines were put in place that a skyscraper has to be able to withstand the force of a plane hitting it. And all materials within a skyscraper have to be skyscraper safe. And that all of the design inside, all of the furniture has to be rated to withstand those sorts of fires and not be a fire hazard.
I work with engineers right now, and they fucking suck.
Oh, I agree. But I'm just saying, though, if the Empire State Building, which was not designed to withstand a plane impact, could survive one, And the Twin Towers were designed to withstand. Withstand the impact of one.
So then, would you say what you're saying is 100% true? Because the word.
No, I am what's known as a skeptic. I cannot prove what I'm saying. The only thing I can do is disprove what I'm being told. Okay. I can use facts and evidence to disprove the government story, and the government itself has disproved its story now years later. There are people who are in the government who are even saying, yeah, that ain't how it happened.
Anonymous posted a video about the Pentagon. The Pentagon one seems a little more fishy to me.
It's definitely a lot more fishy
than the tower collapsing, because we don't know. I mean, if the top of the tower starts coming down, and
I think
it's not a demolition. Maybe it's the air pressure blows out all the windows, and then now the thing's starting to go. It's a snowball effect of engineering. The metal was weakened through the
jet fuel can't melt dank memes. Let me summarize that. I do want to get off this topic because
I know, and I don't want to revisit it either.
Yeah, it's the conversation.
Any other ones, because you and Ryan will go forever, and then Darren will get in, and we'll talk about it for an hour. It'll happen every.
I view the 9/11 attacks the same way I view God. Christians could be right. I could be wrong. I have no proof, certain hard evidence, because the only way I could have hard evidence that there is a God is if I've seen one. But I can't prove that. So I choose to disbelieve because there's more evidence pointing me to the direction of not believing. It's not that I think that Christians are wrong. It's that I personally don't believe. There's just not been enough evidence presented to me to convince me. I've not been convinced. It's not my job to convince others not to believe. That's irresponsible and stupid. And well, with 9/11, it's the same way for me. I've not been convinced that it is who they say it is. And I've seen enough things to be skeptical about what they said. But there is not a single time in which I will say that I can confirm a narrative 100% of what happened that day. Because mind you, I was in the first or second grade when it happened. And President George H.W. Bush was in state at the time visiting schools. Our school was on that list. So we were put into lockdown, fear of a terrorist threat.
Huh.
So, no, I can't say that 9/11 was, quote unquote, an inside job. There's nothing substantiating that. That's loony. But there is enough to draw skepticism to the official story.
Okay. Well,
logic.
I disagree with the analogy because there hasn't been a 9/11 story around for 2,000 years, although it might from here on out. But I'm not going to argue.
Tower of Babel?
The Tower of Babel. Has it been disproven?
The Gardens of Babylon?
Yeah.
There's no proof of them.
Yet there's more proof of 9/11 happening on a different...
There is more proof of 9/11 happening not the way the government said it did than there is of anything that happened in the Bible. But more people believe in the Bible. So,
did you see the new Anonymous video that came out about the Pentagon?
I try to disregard Anonymous because they're hit or miss, and I do not like organizations that are unreliable. I want consistent quality in where I get my information from. And Anonymous has proven a track record of being inconsistent and unreliable. Keep in mind that Anonymous leaked that Trump enjoys golden showers, and that was totally fabricated.
What was it really them? But anyways,
it was 4chan. Anonymous on 4chan.
Well,
which is where Anonymous releases most of their shit.
And 4chan
I used to be a B-tard.
Cannot be credited for anything. But anyways, gosh darn
you
it.
Bring something up. For fuck's sake.
I'm
tired of monologuing here.
Hey, it's not all you, all right? This is a lot of me.
That's kinky.
That's how I like it. What? Anyways,
What do they call it when a plane is? What do they call it when a plane is unable to produce enough power and it begins to fall out of the sky? What do they call that?
A hang glider?
No,
I'm just kidding.
Call it stalling.
Stalin. Yeah, I'm
exactly
also
what I was just doing.
half Russian. No, I did have a good. I did have a good point. Totally got sidetracked. Oh no, anonymous. Yeah, anonymous. They always claim that they're going after somebody, but what do they ever do? I mean, they're all talk, no action. They never. Oh, I'm going after this person.
I'm gonna go ahead and call you bullshit on that one.
All right, I can't say never.
Anonymous is a collective.
Never, but I know, and so why don't they have someone speak on their own behalf instead of having all these random ass motherfuckers just post videos on their behalf? Okay, so
it's all part of.
When are they going to be collective and organized and actually go after the people that they say that they're going after? I mean, it's not that hard.
What it tends to be is the more you separate the video from yourself, the less likely you are going to get caught for the action. More often than not, what Anonymous does is illegal, even if it's for good reasons. And I'm going to bring up a good reason why Anonymous doesn't, or why people in Anonymous don't want to be outed. I'm going to go ahead and paraphrase the story for now, but I'm looking up the information on it. Oh, wait, you know what? I can do it right now.
All I'm saying is they don't follow through. They make a lot of claims. And when I declare war on somebody, you're going to feel my wrath.
Have you heard of the Steubenville High School rape?
No. Sounds like a... Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm actually going to pull up the wiki here. On August 11th, 2012, when a high school girl, incapacitated by alcohol, was publicly and repeatedly sexually assaulted by her peers, several of whom documented the acts on social media, the victim was transported undressed, photographed, and sexually assaulted. She was also penetrated vaginally by other students' fingers in an act defined as rape under Ohio law. The jocular attitude of assailants was documented on Facebook, text messages, cell phones, blah, blah, blah. Two of the students and high school football players. The crime, public reaction. Okay. Basically, what happened is an anonymous person went ahead and leaked evidence. A hacker in Anonymous revealed the names of the unindicted alleged participants. NightSec, an offshoot of Anonymous, hacked an unaffiliated website posting a demand for an apology for the school officials and local authorities who had allegedly covered up the incident in order to protect the athletes and school program. And I can speak from experience that schools will cover up anything to protect their beloved football programs in Ohio. That's a personal experience thing there.
That's not the girl that was found behind like a dumpster and somebody stumbled upon them.
So anyways, though, that one of the hackers who did that is now he was raided by the FBI and is being sent to trial, and basically he's going to be imprisoned because he leaked that a principal and a coach covered up a rape at a school.
Whoa.
That's the skinny on the story, is this man, because of how he got the information, is going to be put in prison.
But that's
why Anonymous remains anonymous, is because they don't want,
because he hacked into their shit.
Yeah, just like when Anonymous hacked into the DoD recently.
Well,
to point out. No, I'm saying this year. To point out that they're still not using. Well, sorry, 2016, but to point out that they're still not using proper encryption on their websites that a government site should be using.
Right.
Someone recently hacked the FBI or the CIA. It was the FBI. No, CIA. I can't remember which. Or either way, Both of those organizations are esteemed and are known for being good with tech, yet for some reason their website was anything but protected. Anonymous does very illegal things, but sometimes for good reasons. So they remain anonymous so that they don't go to jail for doing we the people a favor.
Okay. But what I am saying is that in the videos that are the most popular, when they're saying, I'm going after Donald Trump, I'm going after Kanye West, I'm going after fucking this guy and that guy, it never, you never see anything happen there.
Sometimes.
They're cute. They're great videos, and I like what they're saying. And I'm like, I used to be like, get him, Anonymous, get him. Like,
I don't. I would rather they say nothing at all. I would rather they just do shit.
Because the first time that it happened,
I would rather watch the mainstream media.
Pentagon.
I would rather watch
hacked.
the mainstream media flounder around and get scared. Holy shit! Someone just hacked Fox News and leaked all of their internal communications on the internet, and nobody's fessing up to it. That's what Anonymous should do. Because if they want to have impact and really incite fear, they don't need to announce it. They just need to do it. That way it comes as a huge shock, like it used to. They used to do shit like that. These days, though, no.
Pentagon.
They haven't in a long time, though. And
They did.
If they really want to, they haven't done a good hack in a long ass time.
So, I mean, is the government a little bit ahead of them now, or what's going on there?
Dude, the last groundbreaking thing anyone did was leak celebrity nudes and Sony intercompany emails, which is okay, cool. Movie stars. My biggest fucking gripe about this election was how many movie stars thought that their voice mattered more than ours, telling us how to vote or what to do. So why do I give a fuck?
Right.
I think it was disgusting that they infringed on those people's privacy. But like, really, that's my why does anyone give a fuck is like, that was just fucking lame. Cool, you hacked the cloud. All it is people's nudes. You're going to have to do better than that next time. You need to dig up some information that shows some real crimes, like what WikiLeaks did with the Podesta leaks. You know, that was real groundbreaking shit. Why didn't Anonymous do that?
Well, I have I don't know. Some of that Podesta shit's really hard to believe.
Well, the Pizzagate thing was made up, but there's some pretty shady shit going on there.
So how do you know what's made up and what's not made up when we're getting all these
you read all the emails, and what people have made up is what doesn't correspond with the emails. You can the way they've got the WikiLeaks emails section set up is you can search for keywords.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of shady shit Clinton was doing, but it's that fake news thing. It's like the thing with Trump, the entire election is all this fake news. There are so many legitimate things to criticize Trump on. Why the fuck do you have to make up fake stories? BuzzFeed? Now this? All right. CNN?
So here, I'm going to send you down a rabbit hole. Are you ready?
Oh, God.
We had a guy named Kurt Haskell. Come on. In December, who claimed, and I believe that he saw what he saw. But do you remember the underwear bomber?
No.
Thing that happened? No. Anyways, so he was, God, I'm going to butcher this story. He was in like Germany or something, saw a couple of what he called CIA plants that looked clearly Muslim, and then he was on the plane that had the underwear bomber and that never went off, and he was calling it a false flag attack. Do you believe in those?
Do I believe in false flags?
Yeah.
I think anyone who's read a textbook does.
I know. I'm a flip-flopper on that too.
No, you don't. No.
Because everything can't be a false flag attack. I'm sorry. Everything cannot be a false flag.
No, everything can't, but I do believe in them, if that makes sense.
I believe
they are a possibility. I can't prove any that have happened.
He was
but
a lawyer. He was witness to one. Now that's his whole mission. I didn't even know it. I just asked the dude to come on the podcast, and we got into it a little bit. But now that's his whole mission, and everything is a false flag to him. And I don't want it to turn in a whole episode to turn into that kind of a debate, which it might. He's got a huge following on Facebook. You might want to look him up, Kurt Haskell.
One second. I'm looking for something here. That I can actually prove. Because, facts. So,
okay, now anytime there's an ISIS shooting, he's looking for the false flag narrative.
Yeah, and
But they all can't be. I mean, there's no way 100% of them are.
He's delusional. He's delusional. Unless he has some facts to back it up. You can't just speculate and call
He goes off of like the eyewitness testimony, and this doesn't add up, and where was the gun, and this body that's laying there that's shot does not look right. If he was shot, then how is he laying that way? I mean, he goes pretty deep.
I fight.
It's kind of convincing, but
I fight the false flag arguments with logic. People say that Sandy Hook was a false flag. Rather than saying that was a false flag, I say, well, if schools weren't gun-free zones and those teachers were able to be armed, it probably wouldn't have happened. See, I don't need to call a false flag to give an actual solution, because a conspiracy theorist can go on all day and night about, oh, this was a conspiracy, but someone who's logical and smart will just find a solution that covers all the bases, that eliminates the ability for conspiracies to happen.
Correct.
And eliminates the ability for actual horrible events like that to happen. But correct. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation against the Cuban government. It originated within the U.S. DoD. So what I was getting at, though, there was a false flag proposal during the Cold War proposed by the DoD and Joint Chiefs of Staff, and this was just after Castro had taken or seized Cuba. The idea was assassination of some Cuban immigrants, sinking boats of Cuban refugees on the high seas, hijacking planes, blowing up a U.S. ship, and orchestrating violent terrorism in U.S. cities. These proposals, however, were rejected by the Kennedy administration. So at least JFK had some common decency. But yeah, terroristic attacks being blamed on Cuba to orchestrate war. So the idea was we make it look like Cuba did it so that we can attack Cuba without the UN jumping on our ass.
Kind of same thing with Gaddafi, right?
Yep. Even though Gaddafi, as far as I'm concerned, all Gaddafi wanted to do was launch gold-based currency that would have threatened the US dollar.
They sure fucked him up.
Oh, yeah. Hillary Clinton laughed.
Close it all the way. Sorry.
Hillary Clinton laughed on live television about his murder. He was raped with a knife. They stuck knives in his ass while he was still alive. They spat on him, pissed on him, shat on him.
I saw the broomstick thing, not the knife.
Yeah, they did it with a knife too.
There's only so much of that stuff I can watch. Like I've watched one beheading video, and
but a potential U.S. president laughed at that. Like that was, I don't care who it is. That's not something you laugh about on live TV.
Yeah, we saw it.
It could have been Saddam Hussein. For all I care, you don't laugh about someone getting tortured alive. I mean, Mussolini was hanged upside down in Italy. I still don't laugh about that. He was a terrible person. I think they should have just shot him.
Right. Saddam too.
Because when you torture people like that, you make yourself no better than those people.
Huh. Well, what if someone?
And it sounds, and mind you, that's coming from someone who says that if someone tries to rape you, shoot them in the dick. So
hashtag shoot them in the dick.
Hashtag shoot them in the dick. Hashtag shoot them in the dick.
I don't know.
Make it famous.
I mean, if someone had my son, and somebody had information where my son was, I would be like,
torture is proven to be ineffective. Because
that's how we got a lot of information from the 9/11.
Yeah, well, but
depending on what you believe
in hindsight, did we really? Because we were over there for a long time. And it took the Obama administration to kill Osama bin Laden. So if you believe that shit, I don't really care.
And that goes to another thing. It's like the internet. It's such a slippery slope of what you can read.
We live in an era of misinformation. And the only thing I can weigh in on are things that I can prove and document. So when it comes to that shit, I just try not to say too much. But when it comes to things like, torture being an ineffective torture method or a method of gaining intelligence, yeah, it is. The best way to get information out of someone is to offer them amnesty if they speak up. Because if you torture them and you torture someone innocent, they're going to give you anything to get you to stop torturing them. And it's not going to be real because they don't know shit.
So who knows, right?
And that's exactly. You don't know if you just tortured an innocent person who just made up something that sounded plausible while he was being drowned alive with a fucking rag and some gasoline.
They use gas?
And they used all sorts of shit.
Whew.
Fucking nipple clamps with car batteries. And I'll tell you what, Travis, if I were to sit there and tie you down and waterboard you to try and get information from you, you'd give me information. It just wouldn't be any information you knew. You'd make something up though.
Well,
you would give up on saying I don't know anything, and you'd start telling me some shit.
Well,
even if you didn't know shit.
I have been set up in a sting operation and interrogated, and then
did they put a rag over your mouth and pour gallons of water?
No, but just to get out of there, I started making up shit just to.
Exactly, you were just put under the pressure.
I didn't give anybody a name, but I'm like, oh, there's this guy who I know that sells meth, and he lives in my neighborhood. His name is Steve. I don't know his last name. I can show you where. I just did it to get out of there, but.
So and really, that just proves my point even further. You weren't even being waterboarded, and you came up with some fake shit. And I'm sure they believed it to a degree.
They believed enough to get me out of there.
And there you go. So, I mean, you kind of just picked apart your own argument. Or at least you picked. I'm not going to. I'll wait. I'll wait for another.
What my argument
is that
was
you were justifying the use of torture to gain information. But what about what we found out about people? Could have been a fluke. I was just pointing out that the rights of the few outweigh the rights of the many. It's individual rights that take precedence over the community. It's right. The idea of individualism versus communism. It's individual rights first. You're guaranteed liberty. That is your right as an American.
As an American citizen.
But even then, if another country came over and started, how do we view? You tell me this: when you saw those videos of those terrorists cutting U.S. citizens' heads off, or even just detaining them and torturing them over there, what did that make you want to do?
Turn off the video.
You didn't feel the urge like that? Maybe we should go over there and kill those fuckers.
Yes, it was very
like when you see these U.S. soldiers, being lined up and raped, their heads shaven, their beards shaven, so that you know that they were boy toys, because that's what they do in the Middle East. They'll shave your
lot of
head,
media
and they'll
members.
shave your beard.
I don't know how many U.S.
Why do you think these
were?
members? Even then, though, how do you feel about that? People that weren't even people that were non-combatants, they weren't even killing these people, were being held and tortured and raped.
It's terrible.
Do you think we should go over there and fuck them up?
Who?
Us, America. Do you think as a nation we should go over there and fuck them up?
Though the person that did it personally, yeah, we should go get them.
Yeah,
that person and that group.
Yep.
But how do we differentiate between who's doing the beheading and who is just a part of the government and who is a citizen?
So when these,
I don't know any of that information.
When these people overseas see us indefinitely detaining and torturing people in Guantanamo Bay, it creates more enemies.
But waterboarding is not an official torture method. It's an enhanced interrogation method.
How about we waterboard you and you tell me whether that feels like enhanced interrogation or torture when your lungs
look
are
up the
burning?
definition of torture under the Geneva Convention.
I will look up the definition of torture.
It has to go along the lines of shutting down organ function within the body, and then
torture is the action or practice of inflicting severe pain on someone as a punishment or to force them to do or say something, or for the pleasure of the person inflicting the pain. I would describe a lot of those people at Gitmo doing that for the pleasure of doing that. But I would say that waterboarding inflicts some severe pain.
Psychologically.
No, it hurts to drown. It physically fucking hurts.
But when it's
Drowning
over,
hurts.
When it's over,
and then you do it for years and years and years.
Not maimed. You still have.
Well, that is not the definition of torture, though. To maim someone. To maim someone is to maim someone. To maim someone for information would be torture.
A different definition of torture. I don't know where you got that from.
Webster's Dictionary.
What about under the Geneva Convention?
Well, I mean, under the Geneva Convention, flechette rounds were sanctioned for the longest time, but now they're not. But Israel's using flechette rounds against Palestinians, but we get all up in arms when Palestinians get pissed at them. You know what flechette rounds are, right?
I can give a flechette. I'm just kidding. Oh, no, I don't know.
Flechette round is like a tank round, but instead of an explosive, it is like shooting a kind of like buckshot, but nails. And they're shooting these at people, which they're not allowed to do. That's illegal.
Like the old pirate days where they just put anything into the cannon.
Yep. Basically, that's basically what they're doing, and they're using it on soft bodies, civilians even.
Who's following any of these rules anymore? Nobody is.
They were also using white phosphorus. Willie Pete. You know, that was banned after Vietnam.
So if we leave the UN and then we use these enhanced methods
everyone in the UN who disagrees with what we're doing will attack us. And do I think that we would be obliterated? Not unless they use nukes.
I don't think everybody in the UN is going to attack us if we leave the UN. I mean, look at Brexit.
If we left and started breaking the Geneva Convention, they would. They'd sanction us at the very least. Look at North Korea. They're sanctioned.
I think that's a pretty bad example.
Sorry, they create sanctions against us, not sanction.
North Korea creates the sanctions, or UN?
No, the UN creates them. We create them. They do embargoes. They levy hefty fines and shit.
Yeah, North Korea is not a part of the UN, though.
Yeah, I know. That's my point, is that if the U.S. were to leave, we would no longer be a part of them, and they would lift sanctions against us.
Well, I don't even know the significance.
And as heavily dependent as we are on China for the steel industry or the tech industry or the oil industry in the Middle East, Yes, we do have oil here, but it's an emergency reserve.
Yeah, until
It's
we
a huge emergency reserve, but it's
depending on them for it, which I think is
it's good and bad. We've been smart so far by depending on them because we drain them of all theirs while maintaining our own supplies.
Yeah, and part of the problem is that there's too many big companies that have set shit up to where we can't go against like innovations of energy. They make it difficult, especially
as a disclaimer. I am not allowed to discuss that topic contractually.
Oh, that's right.
I can't get into oil.
Well, you can get into
or at least
Saudi Arabia.
Conspiracies about them. Conspiracies about oil I cannot get into.
Okay.
Or speculations. The only thing I can say is that America should strive towards renewable energy sources. But clean renewable energy sources. I'm talking to you, solar cell manufacturers. I'm talking to you, electric car manufacturers, with your lithium and poor practices when it comes to mining. Yeah. And hydroelectric dams for ruining ecosystems and those big wind turbines for increasing a demand on metals, which mining metal is already bad for the earth. So,
not all metal.
Yeah.
Though.
Oh yeah, it's terrible to mine metal unless you're doing it in small batches. Strip mining is the issue. But
what about recycling the metal that we already have?
That's fine. Creates hydrocarbons. Especially aluminum. Aluminum production is really dirty. You ever heard of fluoride? Sodium fluoride. It's a byproduct of the aluminum production industry.
And what's the problem?
Toxic waste.
It's
toxic waste.
They put it in the water?
Yeah. Why pay to dispose toxic waste when you can have someone pay you to put it in their water?
Sounds like a bunch of conspiracy mumbo jumbo to me there, Sir Ryan. I mean, Sir
Well,
Ryan. Sir Alex. Jesus Christ.
Do you want me to go ahead and pull up the chemical listing for sodium fluoride?
Sure.
Mind you, calcium fluoride is found naturally in the environment and is proven to be good for your teeth. Sodium fluoride, on the other hand, no such studies have been done on, but that's what they put in our water.
Hold on. I was told my toothpaste contains fluoride and that it is better for me to have fluoride in my toothpaste. Yeah.
It hardens your enamel. Have you ever heard
in
of
the water? I drink it. The water flows through my teeth. It's a win-win. I'm just kidding. As long as you're not in Flint, Michigan.
Have you ever heard of fluorosis?
No.
Well, I'm going to go to the official material safety data sheet for fluoride.
MSDS.
The MSDS for sodium fluoride, not calcium fluoride, which is what's naturally found in natural water, and what is good for your teeth, what all the studies have been done on sodium fluoride. Are you familiar with the health fire radioactivity, reactivity diamond? The diamond you see on the back, the safety diamond, where you've got the blue, the red, the yellow. Sodium fluoride is a 3 on the blue, which is health. If you're familiar with what a 3 on that scale means, that means brief exposure can cause serious or fatal injuries. Hazards. In case of skin contact, eye contact, ingestion, inhalation. Slightly hazardous in case of skin contact as it's corrosive. Severe overexposure can result in death.
So this happens
Carcinogenic effects. Mutagenic effects. It is mutagenic. They don't have any availabilities on the developmental toxicity. It is toxic to kidneys, lungs, nervous system, heart, gastrointestinal tract, cardiovascular system, bones, teeth. Repeated or prolonged exposure to the substance can produce target organ damage. Repeated exposure to highly toxic material may produce general deterioration of health by an accumulation of one or many organs. That is from the MSDS of sodium fluoride, which is what they put in toothpaste and water.
That's in the water.
Yeah. That's what they're putting in the water. That's why they need to replace those thick 4-inch pipes at the water treatment plants yearly, because sodium fluoride eats through them. I worked in a high purity chemical solvent plant, and when you work around corrosive materials, you begin to see why you don't want them in your waterways, which is why we had to, anytime it even rained outside, we had to collect rainwater samples to make sure we weren't polluting with just trace amounts of these chemicals, but they're putting more than trace amounts in our water. Fluorosis. Let's go on to that.
How does it get in the water, though? I mean,
they're pumping it in. They're mixing it in when they're mixing in the necessary things to keep the water clean, like the chlorine to sanitize the water and neutralize it, because it's acidic from all the fluoride they put in it.
And it's coming from the mining of steel, or
the mining, it's the manufacturing of aluminum. Aluminum is a special alloy in that in making aluminum an alloy, it requires electrolysis. It doesn't naturally forge into an alloy. You need to introduce an electrical current to get the crystalline structure of the metals to line up correctly. So fluoride is a pretty nasty chemical compound produced by it, and I think that they should have to pay to dispose of it as toxic waste instead of pumping it in our water. Fluoride, during the first 8 years of life, 1 second. Fluorosis is a cosmetic condition that affects teeth. It is caused by overexposure to fluoride during the first 8 years of life. This is a time when most permanent teeth are being formed. After the teeth come in, the teeth of those affected by fluorosis may appear mildly discolored. For instance, they might have lacy white markings that only dentists can detect. And in more severe cases, teeth may have stains ranging from yellow to dark brown, surface irregularities, and pits that are highly noticeable.
I get my water from a 12-step filtration process.
Unless you are distilling your water or running it through reverse osmosis, you're not getting the fluoride out. There are minimal to no
12.
There are studies, but there are very few studies that show that putting fluoride in drinking water helps with teeth. It was the research that's been done on fluoride only shows that it's beneficial when used topically. So mouthwash, toothpaste, things that you don't swallow. But putting it in water is scientifically shown to not be a great idea, as it is caustic toxic waste. You cannot define it as anything other than caustic toxic waste. If I want to dispose of sulfuric acid, it is considered toxic waste because it's caustic and harmful to the environment, and fluoride is as well. I don't even know how the fuck we got on this topic.
I don't either.
I don't believe in conspiracies. I just believe in science.
Well,
science proves that fluoride's nasty shit and you don't want it on you.
And I mean, where are they putting it into the
water treatment plants where they turn sewage into drinking water?
So they bring the fluoride into the water treatment plants. They bring it over by the truckload from the aluminum manufacturing plants.
Basically, yeah. They clean it up. They chemically purify it at a high purity chemical plant where they use reactors to react the shit and get it to become pure, which is what I used to do. And then they take it in trucks or sometimes trains. You would recognize it on a train or a truck by a number on the blue, 3 on the blue area. I'm not sure the chemical designation. Or a fun little factoid, the more you know. If you see a truck on the highway that has a red danger diamond, so a flammable, and it's a 3, and then below it, it's got the numbers 1993 below it. That is mixed chemical. Most often, that's petroleum for automobiles, but it can also be mixed toxic waste from chemical plants. So just anything that doesn't contain chlorine in it. That's flammable. So as long as it doesn't have a chloride, that could be a chloride bond. It's considered a mixed chemical, which is why petrol is.
It just seems like the EPA would step in at some point.
The EPA is inept. Didn't you see the? 1 second, let me pull it up here so I'm not talking bullshit. I try not to do that at the very least. Because of the EPA, there was in the Animas River, they totally polluted the river. The Gold King mine spill was caused directly by the EPA. They caused it in southwestern Colorado, and it was a mustard-colored cloud in the water fed by 548 gallons leaking per minute. 548 gallons per minute. Imagine a gallon of milk pouring out. 548 gallons of those milk jugs poured out every minute. And it stretched for over 100 miles of water containing cadmium, arsenic, copper, lead, and zinc.
Whoa.
Into
Arsenic.
fresh water. Yeah, into fresh water. So the EPA did that. When I defended them in the other podcast, that was more so their ability to communicate things like the fact that they accidentally dumped 548 gallons of water per minute into a river, which under Trump's new silence clause, they're not allowed to do anymore. So they could be leaking toxic waste into that river and they'd never be able to tell a soul.
Really?
Yep.
I think you should post a link. That's pretty interesting.
To the Gold King mine toxic spill?
Yeah.
Um,
on the Facebook page.
I might. It's kind of old news. If anything, I can just share a wiki leak or a wiki link. Derp.
Huh.
Got my mind on it. Conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I guess we did go down that road pretty tough. Right?
Yeah, but I don't think either of us came out like nut jobs, except for maybe me and the fluoride, because I'm sure someone's going to butt in, no, fluoride's good for your teeth. Okay, yeah, I didn't say that it wasn't. I just said it's not good to drink fluoride.
Yeah, a lot of people have their world made up in their brain, and once you present something like
people who
they're
think
putting fluoride in the water. I mean, it sounds like that's definitely something that Alex Jones would say. Yeah, and he's said it before.
For sure.
I'm a fan of Alex Jones
his meltdowns. Too. I want to sidetrack, but I absolutely despise the man. But his meltdowns were just where he should have been nominated for
when he starts yelling
the Oscars.
When he starts yelling,
when he started crying and his face turned all red and shit, and he was just like, you could tell that that's where he totally lost it. I'll find the clip and I'll post it on the page.
It happens a lot.
Like he's just like freaking out, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is like SJW cringe-worthy. He's the conservative SJW.
When something crazy happens, I like to listen to his take on it and just get and
see just how crazy it is.
Yeah, but there's people that go crazy.
I used to like him so much. Do you remember when he was on Fox Business?
Mm-mm.
He had a really good show on there, and then, good, mind you, at the time when he was still on Fox, I was, I think I still identified as a Republican. It was my gender identity. By the way, there are only 3 genders.
Mm-mm.
Yes, there are.
63.
There are only 3 genders. Even
Woman,
most trannies will agree.
Man,
woman,
dog,
and attack helicopter. I'm gonna get so much hate for that one, but
I hope so. I'm just kidding.
I'm such a hateful bigot because I support transgendered people. I just don't support the transgendereds who are not able to identify as a man or a woman. No, I'm all right with the androgynous ones where it's I don't identify as a man or a woman. I'm just neutral, gender neutral. I'm fine with that.
Right.
My issue is I identify as a dog. I identify as a baby.
I'm a fairy.
I identify as a dragon. Yes, they exist. There are people who think they identify as a mythological creature.
Yeah.
Made up. I mean, yeah, technically gender constructs are a bit made up. I believe in sex, which giblets dangle between your legs or don't dangle. But
right.
As far as gender, I do see gender roles being more of a societal construct. I mean, there's physiology, and then there's social interactions amongst people. I don't mind, she-males and male. What's the opposite of a she-male? Like where it's a chick, dude chick. Male she?
I don't know. Unless you've had the surgery, I would prefer to call you. I mean, I'll call you whatever you want me to call you.
It doesn't hurt you to call them by their preferred pronoun, and as long as it's reasonable. Like, okay, you dress like a chick, you think you look like a chick, you identify as a chick, I'll call you that. But if you try and get me to call you fucking Zer or Z, I'm probably not going to call you that.
Right.
Because I just don't have time to learn that pronoun.
A chick for one night, and you go to the club, and then you're a married man, you go home, you take the wig off. I mean, are you really a woman, or are you just...
I think that's more of a drag queen, but I think that's confusing drag queens with trannies. There is a huge difference. Have you heard of the comedian Eddie Izzard?
I know the difference, but what I'm saying is that, so you want me to call you a woman for one night, and that's it?
Drag queens don't, though. Drag queens don't.
I'm not saying about drag queens. I'm talking about people that, they change their... Though. They change their definition every day.
Transsexuals, my understanding of a transsexual is someone who feels they were born as the opposite sex, which would lead me to believe that if they're out with it, they don't go out at night as a woman and then come home and be a man. When they're home, they're a woman, and when they're out, they're a woman. They just happen to have a dick, which kind of makes them not a woman. But you know what? If they want to be called a woman, fucking go for it. It's your mental illness.
Okay.
That is the furthest I will go to encourage it.
Arises when they want their own bathroom, when by law, and in some places in Canada, this is passed, that you need to call them by however they are referred, or else it's like considered a hate crime or some...
I'm skeptical on that. I'm going to see if that's actually...
Look up Jordan Parsons, okay? Because he is leading the fight in Canada against the gender...
Oh, so are you saying it's a proposed law? Or
no, this is already passed. He is a professor at a Canadian college, and he is pretty much about to lose his job because he refuses to call said person whatever weird pronoun that they want to be called. Jordan Parsons.
That's not him being prosecuted as a hate crime. That's him being persecuted.
All right.
It's not legal action. It's just
sometimes you got to read between the lines with me.
Well,
I just call
with that, I would say that if his employer is telling him he's got to do it,
they were going to castrate him. I'm serious.
I'm just saying, if your employer says you need to call trannies by their preferred pronoun, you entered into a contract with your employer. At that point, you can either cease termination, renegotiate your contract, or start calling that person by
20 years, and you've been doing
you signed a contract, and the only way they can fire you is if you're breaching that contract. And if not calling a tranny by their preferred pronoun is a breach of that contract, you signed the fucking thing.
They passed a law.
Well, then, if that's the case, then the business has no choice. And I don't agree with that, because I think free speech is very important. But Canada's not a land known for free speech.
Yeah, not really.
But my thing is, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt you to swallow your pride and just call them whatever the fuck they want to be called. As long as, and this is where I draw the line. As long as you identify as something that is real and exists. If you look like a chick and you insist that I call you by female pronouns, fuck it, I will. But, okay, ma'am. Sorry, someone chimed in, decided to be smart. If that's what you want, then I will. But if you're going to fucking tell me you identify as a dragon, no. Fuck you. Because now I start to feel bad for the people who actually have gender dysphoria. You're just a fucking attention whore, you know?
Right.
I don't understand. I do not understand transsexuality. I can't.
It also kind of turns into a free speech issue. Like, I'm not offending you.
And it does. It does. But at the same time, all I have to ask you is, does it really hurt you to just call her she or him she? I don't know. Does it really hurt you to
start putting regulations on words you can use? When does it stop? I mean, can you not call someone stupid? That's the next.
And that is the sad, disgusting way it's going to go. And I'd rather just nip it in the bud.
I don't want to call anyone stupid. I will if they attack me. You know, I mean, I'm the best talker in the game, but I don't like to go that route. I would rather, and this is exactly why I created the podcast, was because I was getting into these Facebook conversations where I'm like, we aren't going anywhere. You have 5 minutes to think about what you're going to respond to me, and one that is like not really natural way that ideas are brought, and then two, it's like it's really like it puts people against each other because now you're defending your side. And you're not thinking freely, and three, you don't have the consequence of looking at me in my eye and telling me something and having me disagree with you in real time. You don't have that kind of hurt.
Where
and
someone can
four,
really
it's like you're so much. For some reason, people are so much more emotionally invested in a fucking Facebook conversation than they would be in real life. That they're so much more defensive. And that's kind of the reason why I started this, because I call people out when I'm talking to them on Facebook. I'm like, all right, we're having this discussion. It's going nowhere. Come see me on the podcast. Let's talk about it. And this has happened. This is a way I've gotten a lot of guests on here. And guess what? When they come on here and when they see me, like I'm talking to you now, they're not so hostile. They're not so argumentative. Guess what? They kind of see a little bit of, and this is how people are used to communicating.
It's easy to eliminate the humanity in someone when you're not looking at them face to face.
It's true.
And what we do in arguments online, and kind of like in this case here, if there was a fucking tranny in the conversation with us, you might have a harder time. I don't know, maybe saying to them that, no, I'm not going to call you she or he if it's a chick that identifies as dude, whatever. Meanwhile, I'm the dick in the room. I'll just do it to annoy them. But I do want to summarize that. We're going to close that one out per my request, please. I'll just summarize it as this. It's one of those moral versus legal things. Legally, I don't think that anyone should be able to infringe on someone's free speech. If you don't want to call them by their pronouns, you shouldn't be forced by law to do so. On a moral level, I think you should just be a fucking, be a little bit mature and just, is it really that hard? So that's another one of those cases where I would vote, if I voted, would differ very greatly from what my personal feelings on the matter are. Because I definitely don't agree with enforcing my opinions on others unless I can show how my opinions are conducive to allowing others to do what they want to do, where I'm not encroaching on their freedoms and liberties.
Do you feel like Facebook has gotten a lot more political in the last 5 or 8 years. I was kind of late to the Facebook game, but I don't remember like it being
it's been pretty political. Stop it. Part of the reason I dropped out of high school was over politics, and that was towards the start of. This was my sophomore year of school, so this hate to reveal my age here, but this was roughly 2008-ish. Shush. 2008-ish. I had a teacher who was a huge Obama supporter. Typical self-hating white female, white guilt. And we did a class election, and she asked everyone, which I think was so unprofessional of her, but fuck it. She wants to debate, I'll debate. She asked everyone who they would vote for. And at the time, I was a huge Ron Paul guy. Oh, yeah. This was, once again, this was 2008. So, we're talking, or 2007 into 2008, we're talking some pretty heated shit here. This wasn't Obama's first. This was Obama's first term. This was determining whether America would have its first black president. And almost anyone seen as a naysayer was seen as a racist. And it was worse then than it was during the second election. I think people pretty much figured out that there were even Democrats that were tired of his shit. But in my case, I was raised by my dad's a huge far-left Democrat. He refused to vote this election unless Colin Powell ran, which is ironic, seeing as Colin Powell officially has the most votes in the Electoral College of a candidate, a third-party candidate, let alone a candidate that has never run for president. Either way, sidetrack. My mom was a huge Republican, so, during that election, I was really big into Ron Paul, and I voiced that I did not like Obama, not because I didn't like what he had to say. I felt like a lot of what he said could have been really good for the country. It's just that I didn't believe a fucking word he said.
Right.
And that's where I refuse to support him, is that I am a classical liberal. I'm very socially liberal. It's just I'm fiscally conservative. And with Obama, he was neither fiscally conservative nor did I believe him on the things he said he would fix socially. So she ended up losing my final exam.
He was too smooth.
Exactly. He was too good to be. He was a good talker
and a constitutional attorney.
I don't like Trump.
Lawyer.
I don't like Trump though. He was just really good at talking.
He's unhinged.
Playing on their emotions.
But lately,
playing on people's emotions.
I'll let you finish. But lately, he's been kind of more clamped down. I
think now that he has solid advisors.
But go ahead.
So this teacher
Trump has been more presidential.
Obama
was ultimately presidential with the way that he spoke. Bush sucked.
Yeah, for sure. But Bush was a pretty bright dude too, in his own light. I hate him, but he was smart. He just couldn't talk for shit.
Yes,
we all know smart people who can't talk for shit, though.
I do. I follow a lot of scientists.
That was a jab at you.
Whatever.
You suck at typing. I'm sorry, but
hold on. Look at my phone. Look at my phone.
You showed. You got that shattered screen up. Well, that explains it. It's because you bought a fucking iPhone. That Chinesium.
Excuse me, sir.
So anyways, this was an intro to art class, though. I'd held a really good GPA in that class, and I held a good grade point in that class, not an average. And she lost my final exam. Mysteriously lost it. She said it was never turned in, despite the fact that she elected every single final exam. And it was so funny to me because she had actually verbally accused me of being a racist in front of my entire class because I did not support Obama. And that solidified my...
Was she black?
No, she was white.
Oh, you already said that. I'm sorry.
I told you she was one of those... So anyways, that solidified my view of radical liberalism. is when good intentions go too far and you end up infringing on others' freedoms and rights. And that solidified my stance of becoming a libertarian when I did. I voted for Gary Johnson when he ran the first time around, back when he was actually running on a true libertarian campaign. I didn't support Ron Paul the second time around because he ran Republican and lost. Ron Paul. Yeah,
that might have been a mistake running Republican.
He should have ran Libertarian his last run, because Ron Paul actually got, I think, 2 votes in the Electoral College this time around, and he didn't even run.
His vote could have kind of rolled over into the Gary Johnson. I voted for Gary Johnson because
I would have had I not given up on voting, but I did last election.
Just for the third party, and in California, Hillary's going to get it. Yeah. So you got to vote.
And I encourage California voters to vote third party, whether they're Democrat or Republican.
California voters, if they could change everything if they just voted third party.
If every Republican in California voted Libertarian this time around, you would have seen impressive results. But and mind you, California's got some very conservative areas. Looking at the maps. It's just LA and San Fran, and I live really close to San Francisco now, so I'm that's my long running joke. I got invited to lift some weights with some friends back in Ohio, and I told them, no, I'm back in California. I'm going to just lift hippies.
He's just doing exercises.
Yeah. So with that, yeah. I mean, I feel you on to bring that back to the core topic, and why I wanted to get away from it was I wanted to explain. I definitely strongly feel that First Amendment rights are very important, and to a degree, I understand that the First Amendment guarantees you the right to free speech, but it doesn't guarantee you freedom of consequences of said speech. But I believe that consequences should be fair and of equal force to what you said. So if you say you want to blow up the White House, you should probably be aggressed against, because your freedom of you are guaranteed the right to freedom of speech, but you're not guaranteed freedom of responsibility for what you said. But if someone just disagrees with an opinion, doesn't threaten, doesn't say anything rude or mean, but they just disagree with you, if they have an opinion that differs from yours, I don't think that I think that should be protected entirely, and kids shouldn't be flunked out of a vital credit they need to graduate just because they don't agree with a teacher's political preference.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Even if it is unpopular.
That's bullshit.
I could have done better in school, and I was a ROTC kid too. My school sport was rifle team, fucking guns. We had a rifle range in my high school in Texas. Military brat, so stuff like that.
Yeah, I could have definitely, if I'd tried harder, I would have done a lot better in school and not have.
That's another thing you'll see, by the way, is a lot of libertarians in the military. In fact, they make up a very large portion of libertarians. Are active duty and retirees, because they've seen what the government looks like, and it is not the puritanical view that the Republicans have, and it is most certainly not the all-powerful fascist government that the leftists want. Sorry, I shouldn't say leftists. I should say Democrats.
It's not the ultimate good versus evil.
Both sides suck.
Well, I mean, the picture is that we're going over there and we're fighting the evil people.
Yeah, and no, we're just fighting.
Some cases it might be true. Some cases it might not.
In some cases, some of the people we're sending over are evil. There are people. There are soldiers who throw MRE boxes with shit in them out and watch these little Middle Eastern children run up to this MRE box thinking, "Oh, free food," and they open it up and it's fucking shit. Like literal shit.
and
these are our soldiers representing us as a country doing this. So,
and then there's cases where we're dropping aid to ISIS, literally.
Yeah, we're dropping weapons
directly
to ISIS,
and then sometimes not directly.
Per Clinton, we're losing weapons supply drops that we're aiding rebels. Where, if you ask me, we shouldn't have aided any rebels. Any rebellion worth its weight should be able to rebel on its own. If you want to overthrow your government, you fucking do that. Other countries need to stay the hell out of it.
Huh.
And unfortunately, I think if France had stayed out of it with America, we'd have lost.
And on that note, I think we should cut this one off, brother.
Let's end on something happy, joy, really quick. So here's something happy to end this on.
I'm down
just something. Ren and Stimpy reference, just right up in there. Yeah.
Hey, I got it. All right, I got it.
Okay, Vern. Hey, Vern.
I'm more of an
Ernest P. Worrell.
The Nick After Dark or whatever it was called.
In good news in the world and good current events, I would like to leave the audience this evening with something fantastic, and that is that. If you love Trump, the next election is less than 4 years away, and you'll be able to vote for him again. And if you hate Trump, guess what? You can stop rioting in the streets, because you can go show up at those voting booths in less than 4 years now, and go let your voice be heard if you think voting's the way to do it. But in the meantime, we should all love each other and get along, because we're in this shit for the long haul. 3 years is a long time and a short time all at once. So I just urge everyone to try and get along. That goes out to all the SJWs who probably aren't still listening, and all of the alt-righters who are probably still listening but just want to rage on me and call me a faggot. Either way.
Are you gay?
I just want to end on a positive note, though. And
earlier, I'm sorry.
And that we should all just hold hands, get along, and love each other. I don't think it's that hard to do. And hey, maybe you'll start seeing things from my point of view. And if not, that's fine. It's your right. But that's what we all need to remember: is it's everyone's right to feel differently about things, and it's everyone's right to have different opinions. But when you try and force your opinions on other people in a forceful way, that's not love, and that's not right.
And it ain't happening.
Express your opinions, express your emotions in a positive and constructive way. Let's make America great again.
Oh, Lord. You had everyone.
Pepe!
And on that note, God bless America. And
Merc.
You know, I don't. Let's see in 4 years.
I dare you to end on a better note. 4 years, man.
I just wish that my one wish in the world is that for everyone to be happy.
Mine is to grow actual, realistic angel wings and to be able to fly. Like, straight up.
You can grow marijuana for everyone too.
Yeah, I'm actually considering that.
Yeah,
I don't smoke, so it's all profit.
Yeah, it's a big market to break into. Also, I can help you out with that. Actually,
it's a superior product. I'm a botanist.
Well, this has been a fun combo.
It's been entertaining.
And officially, what you would call it, like our episodes are kind of.
It was off topic. It was a blurb, but overall our points were concise, and that's all that matters. Who cares that the points weren't scripted or planned, and that we went on a billion different journeys along the way? Our points were concise.
Exactly. It wasn't a traditional, but this is what I want to have these ones too. I want to have
too.
where listeners
And
expect a tech talk and then some topics and then that one and then we're out. But then on these,
let's do an after show. Let's do an after show recording of just off topic. I mean, as long as the off topic stays on track, and let's hear from the audience. I want to see comments on this after to see if anyone even watched it this far.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, comment, share, like, hashtag shoot the balls.
I didn't even do the proper intro. But yeah, Facebook, Mercury's Cast. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on iTunes. If you leave, the first person that leaves a comment, you're getting a $20 gift card for Amazon. Put it that way. So, not you, Alex. Stop it.
How do you like it? How do you like it? How do you like it? How do you like it?
At any rate,
Oh, Melania. Oh,
God. Okay, just goodbye, viewers.
On that night, we out.
How do you like it? How do you like it?